What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Investing Bros. It is Tuesday morning, and we've got a great show lined up for you today. Some big stories coming out late last night, early this morning. We've got a Coinbase story for you as they are adopting USDC. What does that mean for Coinbase and for crypto moving forward? Could be a huge one. And as well, we also have another story coming from Bitcoin, the new whale attributing $3 billion worth of Bitcoin in a new wallet accumulated over the last 3 months is now officially the third largest whale in all of Bitcoin. Who could it be? We're going to speculate and break that story down and a lot more. We're going to be looking at charts. We're going to be doing everything we normally do. So go ahead and smash that like button. Another important thing is that we forgot yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, we forgot, and I'm very sorry, to do our weekly price predictions. Who's going to be the Bitcoin bull? Who's going to be the Bitcoin bear? We will be doing that today on the show. So make sure you stick around to the very end. And of course, if you are a member, you get to compete with us as well over in our Discord. If you are not a member, but you want to, go ahead and just click that join button right there below the title, and you can join, get a green name, get a green badge, and be a part of the greatest crypto community here on YouTube. With that said, though, I am joined by my co-host, Mr. T Shroom from down in Florida. T Shroom, how you doing this morning?
Oh, Tim, I got to tell you, I'm doing better than I deserve. I had a really cool meeting this morning. Had to get up early and have a meeting with this company called, it's not a company, it's a DAO called Cabin. They have like video conferences that you have first before you enter into it. It's basically like, they're very much into online communities and trying to facilitate travel opportunities for digital nomads. So might be more to come on that. But guys, while I had a meeting, I actually still found time to kind of ponder and pontificate on the quote of the day. And here it is.
Yeah.
From none other than your favorite backsmacker, Will Smith. He said, "Life is not the amount of breaths you take. It is the moments that take your breath away."
Oh, my goodness. You know what movie that's from, right, T-Shroom?
Hitch.
There we go. All right.
Now, Tim,
make sure you knew that, yeah.
What are some moments that have taken your breath away in life?
Oh, my goodness. Every single morning that T-Shroom says he's doing better than he deserves, it's actually the anticipation that takes my breath away.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is he going to say it today? Is he still doing better than he deserves? You never know. You never know. But you know what else takes you? Okay, sorry. What
I
takes your breath
forget
away?
sometimes.
I have another one. Yeah,
I do forget to say better than I deserve. It like the day that I was announced, I think it was like a couple of Fridays or whatever.
Yeah.
That I announced my engagement. I totally forgot. Because I don't know that I was doing better than I deserved that day. What's another time that your breath has been taken away, Tim?
Well, hold on a second. When you got engaged, you absolutely should have been doing better than you deserve. Because if you weren't, that means you were doing poorly being engaged. That's not a good start, T-Shirt.
Well, I just don't think that better fully encapsulates the optimistic upside of how much.
Okay. So you're doing exuberantly better than you deserve, and so much so that
parabolically better.
Parabolic, yeah. Well, the other thing that takes my breath away every single day, T-Shroom, is these amazing comments here in the comment section.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got a couple good ones. Now, here's what's weird. It refreshed for me. And I know I saw earlier that Cryptex was the first commenter, but when I'm scrolling right now, it is showing me Ada Ace. So we are going to give the win to Cryptex because I know it. I saw it with my eyeballs earlier today.
I saw Cryptex too.
But I got to pick up from what I'm seeing on my chart. So as we're reading some names, Ada Ace is here with that green name. Arson246 is saying hello. Bedridden is here with the blue wrench. Mike Vollmer is here. Remington Peralt is here. Brian D. Grand Roofing Incorporated. Gia S. Crypto Ben Franklin, everyone's favorite non-crypto president. And speaking of, man, also these yellow badges are looking very beautiful. The green ones look beautiful too, but I love these yellow ones. That means these people have been members for over a month, and very soon those badges are going to turn red. I cannot wait to see it. It is going to be awesome. Speaking of all those badges, you guys know today, Tuesday, is our silver membership bro time at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys are there. Let's see who else is here this morning. CBD Suddy is here. Let's see. Crypto AI is here. Mellow Fellow is here. Who else do we have? It's a me. A Crypto Mario is here saying, bruh. Good comment there. Good comment there, Crypto Mario. Bob is here with that capital B on the end. Not to be misplaced for Bobby, though. What is better, the news from this day last month or the quote of the day? I'm going to vote quote of the day, T-Shroom, but that's just
Mm.
me. Other people can vote however they want. Let's see who else is here. Justin Eubanks is here. Yair Navarro is here. Katzman is here. Brokoshi Nodanero. Let's get 5 more names and we're going to move on this morning. Ninja Glock is here. Let's keep moving. Chaos Incorporated is here. Troy King, Crypto Military Vet. And the last one I am reading is Crypto Mini Bike. Wow, great people here in chat today. Guys, I know there's a lot of names I probably did not get to read, and I'm very, very sorry. It does not mean I don't love you. It just means it's time to go ahead and get in with our content here. Starting off with our economic outlook of the day. Good way to share.
Whoa.
Yeah, YouTube. Sometimes I watch my own show, guys. We watch our shows, me and T-Shroom.
It's the best.
Yeah, it's good stuff here. Let's go over to tradingeconomics.com. As we kind of preface today, there's not necessarily a lot of big stuff happening. At 10 a.m., we will see existing home sales month over month. I don't know what this one just says existing home sales. So I don't know if that's year over year or what it is, or just in general. I guess that's just in general, because the previous was 4.16. The consensus is 4.15. So not expecting necessarily to drop that much. But we do have several speeches. We had one this morning from Fed Barkin. We'll hear from Goolsby and Bowman. You can't make these names up. Is it like a requirement to have an interesting name to be a Fed chairman, T-Shroom?
They all sound like like some kind of mythical, like from Harry Potter creatures
they do.
Or characters.
Coincidence? I think not. All right, let's keep moving on here. Wednesday, Great Britain gets their S&P Global. There's a lot of letters in here. I don't know what that one is. We get 30-year mortgages tomorrow, previously at 7.16%. Oh, who's buying a house right now? Not me. Not me, says Tim. More new home sales. Wait, we already got new home sales over here, didn't we? Oh, existing home sales and new home sales. All right, so lots of home stuff going on this week, guys. Durable goods will be coming out on Thursday and Friday. We will be hearing from Jerome Powell himself. Will we see a pump in the market? Will we see a dip? Will it continue to move sideways? You're going to have to wait. Stay tuned every single day of the show. We'll break that down and more. Let's update our liquidations page. Lever is the largest one in the hour, but let's see if it's large here. Yeah, not 24 hours, but what is lever? No idea what it is. It's taking the cake here for the last hour. Had a lot of long liquidations, 111,000. But I've just never heard of it. 24 hours though, of course, Bitcoin is in the lead. And it is green, and that's not a good thing, guys. That means we had 7 million long liquidations compared to only 3.5 million short liquidations. So little bit down in price. Ethereum's the same way. 4.4 million long liquidated, 2.4 million shorts liquidated. There are some red ones this morning. That means their price probably went up, but Bitcoin down, Ethereum down, XRP down, Doge down. Those are some big movers, some big projects here, top 10 projects that are in the red this morning. Let's take a look at Truflation staying exactly where we kept it yesterday. If I even refresh this just so you guys can see it, we were at 2.69 yesterday morning. We're there again. So inflation, according to Truflation, leveling out here for a second. Let's take a look here. I don't think there's any updates. 86.5 still is the prediction. That's predicting we're going to go ahead and pause this month. I'm expecting, let's see if March is changing. Nope, March is saying we're going to stay paused, and it's still May that's saying will be the first month we get a rate cut, but we see a little bit of momentum kind of coming in here that May could go ahead and stay paused. Maybe this gets a lot more movement after we hear this week. We had a lot of speeches from Fed chairmen with interesting names. It's overwhelmingly saying that if we don't cut in May, we're probably going to cut in June, but definitely want to keep our eyes on that. That could have an impact on price for sure. Let's take a look at Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index this morning, 7 after being back up to 38 yesterday. So really low here on Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. Could be something that props us up. You guys know I'm kind of short-term more bullish on Bitcoin. Even if we get another drop to 25.2, I'm short-term more bullish, long-term or intermediate term more bearish, and then long-term, of course, bullish. Bitcoin's going up into the right over the long term, guys. Let's take a look at our coin market cap open of the day. Let's see, are there any big 24-hour movers in the top 10? Cardano down 2.47%. Remember, Cardano was one of those that didn't get a big drop here last week when everything else did. So while everything else is kind of pausing and hesitating, Cardano's accelerating a little bit more. Solana almost down 1%. Dogecoin almost up 1% in the last 24 hours. So that's interesting, even though it was one of the coins that had more longs liquidated than shorts. Very, very interesting. Polygon Matic down 4%. Oof, oof, oof. That means I probably, the amount that I bought the other day more than likely is in the red, but that's okay. I bought it for the long haul. That's not my trading portfolio. That's my holding portfolio, and it's a good price to buy. Toncoin down 2%. Up 2%. Excuse me. That's a green number. Avalanche down 2.5%. Stellar down 2.31%. Let's take a look at the biggest gainers and losers, starting with gainers. Sui up 5%. Acash up 4.4%. Compound up 4%. Optimism is up this morning. Yeah, Toncoin's in the roof. Algo only 1.6, so not a lot of big movers today. Let's see if were there any big losers though. Yeah, probably. I didn't think there was. Curve Dow is definitely down again, 4.4%. Matic's down 4.27%. H bar again had some green days more recently, so it is down here. So is XDC and IMX. Not a lot of big movers. You see here, biggest gainer only 5%, biggest loser only 4.4%. So kind of a sideways day overall for the crypto markets. And speaking of those crypto markets, it's going to be time for us to dive in here.
Hold on just a second, Tim, because I did pull up. I did pull up the lever. So Leverify.
Okay.
What do you think Leverify is? Really quick. Take a wild guess.
It's a really cool project that lets you invest in trains.
Okay. No. Leverify, formerly known as Ramp DeFi, is a decentralized leverage trading platform.
Okay.
That's all I'll say about it. I have no idea if it's a total scam or the next coin that will 100x. I have no idea. But before we get into the charts, really quick, and Tim didn't agree to this necessarily, but I think it's a concept to like. I have a trivia question, and of course, you can Google this if you want. Okay,
and
don't,
yeah,
or at least don't post the answer in the chat. If you do, you're a total troll. And then at the end of the chart, at the charts, end of the TA, I will reveal the true answer to the trivia, which is this: which Ethereum-based project introduced the concept of crypto kitties, which are virtual cats that can be bred, bought, and sold as non-fungible tokens? Again, don't take the fun out of it by posting the right answer. You can post the wrong answer in the chat. Yeah.
Well, that helps eliminate some other projects. But, dude, I actually, at one point, I knew the answer to that because I talked about crypto kitties in a semi-negative way. I just made fun of it probably. And some people were like, you don't have crypto kitties? And then they went on about it. But I can't remember what it was. So I'm going to get that one wrong. Might not even take a stab at it because I cannot remember for the life of me. But I know there's people in our community who know what the answer to that question is. So, yeah, let's find out at the end of the show. Interesting little segment there, T-Shroom. Interesting little segment. Well, let's jump over to our charts. Of course, brought to you guys by Chart Prime and BitGet, two of our sponsors here on the channel. Now, there is something coming with BitGet, guys. You do need to know about. If you are an American citizen, it's going to be very hard. When I say hard, I mean they're literally going to not let you do it because of this new KYC thing. But if you're outside of the U.S., still a great option to use BitGet. We are going to be looking into some other exchanges, especially for all of our U.S. Community, so you guys continue to trade. It's going to be hard with leverage trading. There's a couple leads we have. We talk about that over in our free Discord. So you got to be over there and stay up to date on everything happening there. But we are going to be coming up with some other ones here as well. And of course, Chart Prime you can use in the US. Chart Prime you can use anywhere. And it's amazing. It's the greatest indicator out there helping you guys know how to trade better. We're looking this morning here at Bitcoin, guys. It's not really too much different than we had it yesterday. It did do a little. This is so hard. Like I could just change this line. I was going to say it kind of broke above my resistance level. We had this conversation in Discord yesterday. Lines aren't about perfection. It's about getting zones. So I could easily just shift this up and say we are getting very, very close to a breakout point. And especially, let's look at the Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands, yeah, just as I suspected. I didn't know if I was going to have to go to a smaller time frame, but look at the constriction on the 4-hour Bollinger Bands. Breakout is coming, ladies and gentlemen. What's the hourly saying? Yeah, the hourly has been constricted since all the way back here, back on August 19th around 4 a.m. A big breakout, more than likely, guys, is coming soon. We had the symmetrical triangle pattern, which is part of a bear pennant, and we have this nice squeeze here. Now, again, I want people to be prepared for this because there are a couple of options that could happen here. We're going to check on the indicators and oscillators here in just a second, but I want you guys, just in case you missed the show yesterday, to know what we're looking at here. We do technically have ourselves a bear pennant that, theoretically speaking, I even want to look at this, from on the linear chart, this would give us a price action down to 22.5 or so. Let me take a look. If I were to hit log on this bad boy, what does this do for me? I'm going to have to change my flagpole for sure. But what does this say the price action should be? Because they're always different. Yeah, this one says 22.9. So in this case, the linear is actually a little more bearish than the log chart. Either way, you guys know that if this happens, I don't think the price is stopping at 22.9, 22.5. I do think the price would continue on down towards 20,000 eventually, even if that meant that the price action follows this little pattern. Let me go and draw it for you. Comes down here to 22.5, boom, and then bounces back up, treating 25.2 as resistance, and then we make our push down to 20,000, maybe even 19.5, 19.7 or so. Some levels I definitely think to keep your eyes on. But I'm actually still sitting here wondering / thinking, guys, that I think that this blue line, if I go back out to the daily chart, I still think this rising support line could be retested as resistance. So we're got a decision point. Do we want to break up? Do we want to break down? Going back down to the 4-hour chart, do we want to potentially make a move back up to that blue line and actually fake everyone out, come back up somewhere into this yellow T box, 28.3, maybe get to the top of it, 28.6, and then make our push down again? The other thing I would say, definitely keep your eyes on this 4-hour chart. Do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if we actually even do this. We break to the downside. We hit 25.2 again, but this time low volume, because the last time we touched it here a couple of days ago, we had high volume, low volume spring with a volume confirmation that kicks us back up here. And then we start to trade sideways. And then later on in September, October, we make our push down. And it's actually late in October, we start coming back down towards that 20,000 level. Do not be surprised. I know that's 3 different scenarios. A lot of different things could happen. So I cannot make a prediction with 100% certainty, but it would make a lot of sense from a technical standpoint for the price action to take one of those 3. Either way, what we're seeing, in my personal opinion, is not good look for bulls out there. We do have a story today that bulls are going to love. We'll talk more about that, our new billionaire Bitcoin holder. But the charts are still saying this is too soon, too quick. And if we continue to follow the pattern of what we followed back in 2019, this more than likely is not the bottom of this dip. I don't think we're hitting brand new bottoms. I don't think we're going down to 15.5, but I do think 25.2 is not going to be the bottom of this dip. Continue to hold yourself some dry powder just in case. Let's take a look, though, at those oscillators, the amazing chart prime oscillators. You guys can see we see bullish divergence here. Another reason to think that potentially we go back to the upside rather than to the downside. Bullish divergence with a peak seeker, which, hold on, come on now. Come on, work with me here, screen. We're getting some bullish narrative there. We did get a massive buy signal from our MVP oscillator mixed with what I call our Christmas tree ornament. So even though we haven't bumped to the upside just yet, we are seeing the 4-hour chart give us a lot of bullish flashes. The oscillators are rallying back to the upside, but they're not necessarily doing anything crazy. Keep your eyes on the mid-level, though. If we do follow the downside, we are sitting at the 0 on the chart prime oscillator. We're getting close to that 50 on the RSI. That could serve as a rejection. We're definitely in a spot right now where it could go up, could go down. So you're sitting here waiting to see what the breakout's going to be. But again, we do see a mixed bag of bullish and bearish signs. The daily chart for sure is going to probably say more bullish because you're going to see, right, the one that just already updated, oscillator really low here on the RSI. We're getting those green histograms here on our MVP indicator. We're getting the Christmas tree ornaments, the oversold and green reversal. So I'm actually seeing more of the things. I remember that kind of scenario I just laid out for you, the 3 of them. I'm going to lean towards the chart kind of indicating that bullish scenario back up to this yellow T box could be what happens next, especially with a bullish story, again, that we got today. Let's take a look even all the way down to the hourly chart. Let's see if the hourly chart is telling us anything bullish, anything bearish. It looks like a mixed bag. You guys can see it's kind of been bouncing back and forth between being overbought and oversold. So hourly chart kind of not giving us anything clear. So you got to kind of default to your 4 hour. And then I'm going to assume everything between, if the 4 hours bullish and the daily's bullish, more often than not, everything in between it is bullish as well. Sure enough, that is true. Let's take a look here at a couple other things. Oscillators saying bullish. Let's look at the market oracle on the daily chart. Another reason to think maybe we get back up there is after smashing through our daily dynamic reactor. Look where that is, up here in the T box, up here at 28,400. Would make a lot of sense, guys, to come back up and retest that dynamic reactor. Let's look at our multi-time frame. Again, I don't know if we're actually going to get up here and touch these. We, of course, came down to these significant multi-time frame support levels. I think we're going to touch them once again, if not break below them as well. We have some ones higher. There's one all the way up to 28.8. I just don't know if we're going to be able to make it that high. Let's take a look, though, at let's actually got to go to the 4 hour chart to do that multi-time frame, because I want to get the 4 hour one as well. Maybe that, yeah, the 4 hour the strongest resistance level on the 4 hours coming in right there at 28,600. That's the level I'm kind of talking about there. So could we touch that one? I think there's a decent chance that if we get a rally, that's the level we're going to reject. Let's take a look at the last one here. Yeah, same thing. This is our trading ranges. I always blank on the name of them. This is called the predictive ranges. Thank you, Piper. You guys know Piper loves predictive ranges. It's one of his keys. You guys can see right now we're kind of wrestling with and using that gray level as resistance. So let's watch to see if that holds as resistance and we move to the downside, or can we break, turn that into support, in which case we get the bottom gold band coming in around 28.2 in that T box. It's really hard to say for certain where in this T box it will go, but more than likely somewhere in this yellow T box is where I do believe we would make contact with this blue line. So somewhere in this range right here between 28,000 and 28,600 is an interesting spot to definitely keep your eyes on here for Bitcoin. That is the Bitcoin TA we have for you guys today. Let's take a look at some others, though. T-Shirt, what do you think? I'm going to make sure, let's look at chat for just a second. Bedridden says, Tim, what do you think about Friend Tech? Did Ben liked it? Did Ben like it? We can talk about that here in just a little bit. I'm going to go and keep this in the TA section, but good question right there. GS is 105 watching and only 58 likes. Wow. Only 58 likes. Are we that bad, T-Shroom? Is this really that bad of a show that we only have 58 likes?
I guess.
Man, we're not doing better than we deserve. I feel like we're doing less. We're not doing as good as we deserve. We deserve more than 58 likes for sure. You guys can go ahead and get it on in there and hit those like buttons. Let's take a look at, I saw someone say Solana. Let's take a look at Solana. What is Solana doing here more recently? Let me start off with the daily chart because we have not looked at this one recently. Now, after breaking bullish out of, let's go and extend this one because that's very important. After being in a falling trading channel and breaking to the upside, did we actually hit the spot that we kind of were looking for, the breakout prediction there? It doesn't necessarily look, it looks like we got close, but it doesn't look like we got there. No, we should have gone closer towards $26. Did not make it. So that was a failed price breakout, but you do see we're coming back down and we're retesting this former resistance level as support. That's the first start, but it's such a hard slant for Solana. You can't get too bullish about that because that can then now just trade sideways and decide to dump later. And then you're asking the question, what about when you go out to the weekly chart and you're looking at this falling wedge pattern that Solana had recently broke out of? Are we coming back down to retest that level as well? We might be. That's a harder one to answer for sure, but we definitely might be. Let's take a look at some oscillators here on Solana and see what it is saying here. We did get a green reversal, but we aren't getting those massive oversold flashes, and we're not getting green histograms like we are on Bitcoin. The RSI is low, but that's kind of telling me on the daily chart that Solana wants to drop a little bit more before flashing some major buy signals. Let's see what the 4 hour chart is saying with the oscillators. We got bullish divergence, we got green reversal, but no green histograms. Yeah, so even the 4 hour for Solana is saying, guys, we got a little bit more to go to the downside. Let's look at some other things here. Let's look at the Chart Prime Oracle Pro. got our dynamic reactor and markets, a dynamic reactor and our trend assistant definitely above us, but we don't necessarily have to retrace back up to those. Let's take a look at our multi-time frame support and resistance. Going to be interesting to watch. The number 4 strongest support level at 19.65. Again, with the fact that we're close to being oversold on Solana, but it's looking like it wants to go a little bit more. Guess what also is in that same range? The wick we had here just a little bit ago that had high volume. So could this be that thing we're talking about where, Bitcoin 25.2 needs to get down there and get a low volume spring? Do we see Solana do the same thing? Is this another thing? Is Solana giving us a little bit more insight where Bitcoin, even though we see bullish signs, where there's still a mixed bag there of like, do we go back to 25.2 first? Maybe is Solana giving us a little bit of an edge here and saying, nope, Solana's not completely ready to go. Maybe we see Solana going down. Maybe that's a sign that the market's ready to go down. I don't know. This is a hard one. I tend to say no, you lean towards Bitcoin, but every now and then you see this where Bitcoin looks ripe to go up to the upside, but altcoins aren't looking as ripe. And then the whole market still comes down, so the altcoins are ready. Other times you just see it follow Bitcoin completely. So definitely something to keep your eyes on there. But Solana, guys, not looking like a good place to enter along right now. I would say you're kind of probably waiting. What was that level? Let's pull it back up once again. I would say waiting to 1965 or so. It looks like an interesting area for Solana to definitely be keeping your eyes. It's 926 though, guys. I know that's weird. We did Bitcoin and we did Bitcoin and we did Solana. Let's do one last thing, and this isn't crypto. This is the Dixie, the DXY. This was a conversation we had yesterday in Discord. I just want to kind of answer this even more detail because depending on where you draw this line, you're going to see a couple of different things. I want to make a good argument for you guys as to why your line should look a little bit like this for the Dixie. Let's go out to the daily chart here and let's look at some candle closes here. Now, the question that is being asked is why don't we attach it to the top of this wick? Well, if we do that, we don't necessarily get a great answer here because now we're kind of sitting in a middle zone where, yeah, the candles are kind of closing right at that area. But when you come down and you close it like this, you're first of all getting a lot of wick touches from these other wicks right here. Gotta go a little bit lower. The other thing is you could make a decent argument to say, let's not do wicks here for resistance. Let's actually go to candle body closes, in which case this makes it even lower and you get this touch, a third touch of this wick down here. I think the best way to do this when you're drawing trend lines is you're looking for an average movement with the most amount of touches. And when you look at all of these wicks and you look at this one, and then you look at where this most recent candle has kind of retraced back down to and then bounced. This is a classic look of a former resistance level being turned into support. So is this a perfect way to draw? Could you draw it 6 or 7 other ways? Absolutely, you can. But you do need to remember that trends are not perfect lines. They are more zones. So in fact, while we use trend lines, maybe the more proper tool to use here would actually be let's see, did I get rid of it? No, it's this one right here. Parallel channel. You could actually make a good case to say this is the actual way we should be drawing this, and we should be bringing it down, and we actually have a nice zone of former resistance that now is being turned into support. Either way, guys, the Dixie is making bullish moves, and there's a lot of reasons why the Dixie potentially could be continuing to the upside. We are not necessarily overextended, even though we got bearish divergence and a peak seeker all the way back here at this point. You can see that was ignored on the daily chart, and we are not necessarily getting massive overbought flashes suggesting the Dixie needs to fall to the downside. What we actually could be seeing is a little bull rally for the dollar, especially based off of what just happened this past week with China and what's going to happen to the yuan. We could see the dollar actually get a little bit of power back here, and that could be a part of the reason why we see crypto and Bitcoin continue and move to the downside. But I did want to do some quick Dixie chart. As much as it is overextended and the RSI is high and we are high on the oscillators, I'm not necessarily seeing everything play out that is screaming we have to dip back down, and that could be bearish for crypto. With that said, we're going to go ahead and transition into our community time. So let's go back to BroCam here, T-Shroom. What are some announcements? I know I have a couple of announcements, T-Shroom, but what are some announcements on your brain that people need to hear about?
Well, the biggest one is that at the end of community time, before we get into the news, we're going to reveal the answer to the trivia question. So get your last minute thoughts in about who started CryptoKitties. That's a lot of fun. Okay, in terms of community, Community right now. Oh, we have our Saturday show coming up. I am going to be gone for military stuff this weekend, starting Thursday. So it's going to be a Tim takeover on Thursday, and then Piper will be joining on Friday.
Frady.
And today we have Bro Time at 3 p.m. here on YouTube's for our members. So.
Yes, for our silver, gold, and I don't think we have any diamond members at the moment, but every member is welcome to that one. It'll be a private YouTube video. So make sure if you want to be a part of that, you join the membership page. So that was you covered a lot of the announcements I had here. Remember that we are not doing tactical trades tonight, everybody, because of the new Saturday show. We're just right now, we're putting that show on ice. When Piper comes back and wants to pick that back up, that will be awesome. But T-Shim and I are going to be able to spend Tuesday nights with family and friends and relax after hard days of work. The other thing that I would say, remember about that Saturday show, guys. We had an amazing Saturday show this last Saturday. I'm going to do my best. It won't be something that we can do every single Saturday. There will be certain Saturdays where something comes up for both T-Shum and myself, and we're not able to do it. But even on days where T-Shum maybe has something, I'm going to try to go by myself. Maybe if T-Shum's free and I'm busy, he'll try to go by himself. The Saturday shows are going to be a great time to reflect on the week, to look back at prices, to have some fun with community. And we're a little bit later in the morning at 11 a.m., so that means our California friends can wake up and spend the morning with us. And we'll also use that time maybe to talk a little college football at the end of the shows because it's football season, ladies and gentlemen. But with that said, T-Shroom, let's go ahead and transition to some of our segments. Make sure you guys stick around because we're doing our price predictions here at the end of the show, and you guys can participate in that. But T-Shroom, we got some big stories. What do we got?
And before we get to those, go ahead and drop your guess in the chat of what the answer to which Ethereum-based project introduced the concept of crypto kitties, which are virtual cats that can be bred, bought, sold as non-fungible tokens. Because of the delay on YouTube, I think we're going to probably just go ahead and show in the future. Yeah, so go ahead and if you're listening, if you can hear me now, go ahead and drop the answers. But the true answer to this question is
Dapper Labs.
Dapper Labs. There you go.
Dapper Labs. Wow.
All right. Pretty cool stuff.
That wasn't one of the ones I was going to guess, so I'm glad I didn't.
What were
if
you
I had gotten
guess?
it right,
I should have gotten your guess.
I'm not going to say what I was going to guess. I was going to say Dapper Labs. I was going to say Dapper Labs. That's
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I love it. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the stories, guys. The first one we're not going to cover in depth, but is relevant, is that China's President Xi Jinping has arrived in South Africa for the big BRICS summit. This, of course, is going to be, covered, and we'll probably have some headlines to cover tomorrow. But right now, the big headline is that all the leaders are getting down there, and they're ready to come up with a plan to try to solve the currency problems of the world that they think exist, and that do definitely exist. All right, moving along. Look at him; he's getting flowers. He's getting
what a welcome,
rolling out the red carpet, literally for Big Xi Jinping. Got the military service members there of South Africa. Lots of fun. All right, so taking a look here at the news, Coinbase acquires stake in Circle, dissolving USD Issuers Center. So taking a look here at some of the details, you can see Center will no longer exist as a standalone entity, and Circle will remain as an issuer of USDC, bringing in any Center governance and operations responsibility in-house. So there's a lot of details here, but the big one is that you are seeing some centralization with Coinbase getting a little bit of a stake here. So, Tim, what are your thoughts on this story? Good, bad, neutral?
I mean, I'm going to say neutral for now because I have questions. Questions, what does this mean for Tether? What does this mean for Tether's place on Coinbase? I haven't heard anything about it, but of course, you would imagine Coinbase is going to be a little more motivated to get people transacting in USDC. Although Coinbase wasn't the exchange that took Tether down, was it? I know that Binance didn't do. Binance were doing things with Binance.us or the Binance stablecoin. Was it Coinbase that just removed a lot of Tether?
It might have been
things. So maybe that's part of my answer. Interesting. Yeah, that's my biggest question, because a lot of people have drawn the comparisons of the stability of Tether to Bitcoin, which I think is a little much. I don't think that it's that simple that if Tether burns and crashes and dies, that all of a sudden Bitcoin will as well. But it is interesting that if there is negative news about Tether, with so many people having that opinion, you could see some FUD and some negativity about Bitcoin as well. So that's my question. Again, I'm going to say neutral about Coinbase doing this, because there's some answers I think that need to come out and people need to get a better grasp of it. But bullish for Coinbase. So I'm imagining people who own coin. I'm not going to be surprised if there's a little bit of a stock uptick. We know Coinbase is not going anywhere. They're continuing to make moves to solidify themselves as, and they want to be the number one exchange in the world where people on ramp and off ramp their cryptocurrency. And to be fair, they're doing a great job because it's one of the easiest ways to do it. So that's my first thought, or my main thought here. But T-Shirt, what are you thinking? Bullish, bearish, neutral?
Well, it looks like Coinbase has suspended Tether trading in Canada. I don't know that they've.
Yes, okay, that's what we heard. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know that they've suspended it elsewhere, but in Canada, it looks like it has been suspended.
Okay.
So, I mean, my thoughts on it are, I'm not surprised at all. It seems like USDC is emerging as the stable coin for the TradFi world, right? That's theirs, right? That whereas Tether is kind of like not. And that's kind of the way that's panning out. Not that has like, I just don't know what the implications of that are. I don't know that there really are going to be. I'm sure that there will be implications of that, but right now it's not clear to me. I mean, you also have the PayPal stablecoin coming out. I'm sure that that's going to be a pretty significant one for TradFi as well, because that's going to be very B2B, very business to business. Businesses that buy other services and goods from other businesses are going to more than likely be using that PayPal stablecoin, if anybody is. And so, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I don't know that this is really going to rock any kind of markets. It's just a bad news for Tether, really, I think is kind of the big thing.
Yeah, but here's where it gets kind of shaky, is that I think this will continue to solidify the concept as you kind of introduced it. The USDC is not a friend necessarily of decentralization. It's more of a friend of centralization. It's going to be the one used for traditional finance, and of course we know Brian. I like Coinbase. I like Brian Armstrong, but they're in bed with Larry Fink, and it's one of those things that, like, they're going to make some moves that are going to pull in more centralization into the crypto space. So there's a lot that I think still needs to be uncovered about this T-Shroom, but I think you summed it up very well. I do think the initial thought is this could be negative for Tether. The question is, do people move on from the concept of Tether is needed for Bitcoin to keep going up and say, all right, we'll embrace USDC, or does that become a stick in the mud that holds crypto back? We'll have to wait and see.
Yes. And as of now, USDC is second in the stablecoin race, just 26 billion behind Tether, which is number one. Well, there's more news. Surprise, surprise. There's some more headlines other than just that. Mysterious Bitcoin wallet becomes third largest Bitcoin holder in 3 months. So as of now, a mysterious Bitcoin wallet has surged up the ranks to become the third largest holder of Bitcoin in the world in just 3 months, with the Times sparking some wild theories about its owner. According to data from crypto statistics platform BitInfo Charts, the wallet address first received Bitcoin in March 8th, so not long ago at all. Over the course of the next 3 months and 2 weeks, the wallet has accrued a staggering 118,000 Bitcoin, worth an estimated 3.08 billion at current prices. So again, those prices are going to be subject to change in these volatile markets, especially here pretty soon, more than likely. But yeah. So the other thing too is that to kind of keep a little bit of like comparison is, as of August 1st of this year, MicroStrategy's owned 152,800 Bitcoins. So that's a little bit of comparison. So not too far behind is this mystery wallet that nobody knows who owns except Tim. So Tim, tell us who owns this.
I don't know who owns it, but we're going to speculate on who owns this. And I'm going to ask a question that I want chat to definitely give their commented response to. And T-Shroom, I want your verbal response.
Yes.
What are the odds? What are the odds that Larry Fink and BlackRock are not somehow, some way associated with this? I mean, you really have to scale down who's capable of this. Who has $3 billion ready to deploy into Bitcoin over the last 3 months. And I think that article, I don't know if you said it or not, maybe I missed it, but it also says that their net holding is down about $92 million. So whoever did this, they're in the red, but they have been accumulating
But they're
Bitcoin. Well, what
hodling.
else? What else has been happening in the news a lot over the last 3 months, T-Shroom? BlackRock and Larry Fink have been talking a lot
Oh
about
yeah.
Bitcoin and how good it is and how their ETF is going to help change the world. And so it's one of those things that's like, man, we might never know, because I think Larry Fink would have the ability and the resources to try to hide this from his holding all the way around. But what are the odds? What are the odds that he's not connected to this somehow? Chat, what do you guys think? T-Shroom, what do you think? I did see V Slim before we even commented said BlackRock question mark question mark. V Slim, I like the way you think, because that's how I'm kind of thinking right now.
And even before V Slim, Gia S said, could that be institutional? So
yes,
nothing gets past Gia S. Gia S is got her thumb right on the money. But no, ultimately, I think there's a really good chance that this is BlackRock. I think probably the odds are above 60%. You know, I don't really see, I mean, unless it's like Valkyrie or maybe EDX Markets, that has yet to launch or has had soft launch or whatever. EDX Markets could be a contender, in my opinion, as they're trying to, build up some reserves for their big launch, whenever that's going to happen. It could be a foreign government, that's kind of positioning for could be the Argentine government, maybe that's positioning for a legalizing of Bitcoin as legal tender.
Possibly.
It could be some, like, a group of lottery winners who've all pooled their winnings, international lottery winners who obviously that's not it. No, I think it's BlackRock. I think there's maybe a couple other contenders for this, maybe like a George Soros type of person who has an extra $3 billion laying around over a span of three months, but there's very few individuals and only a handful of organizations that could be doing this. But I wouldn't rule out a government, a sovereign wealth fund, maybe like I said, Argentina. Although I don't know that they would have the liquidity to do this. They would have the motivation. Well, maybe something with the BRICS. I mean, that's coming up. That's today, right? So maybe they're going to reveal that they have $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. Yeah. GS says she can believe that it's BlackRock. Can you, Tim? Do you think that it's BlackRock?
Again, I could understand it being a country, but then you start to get into a place where that's a lot of money, and if a country really believes in that much, why stop at 3 billion? A lot of these bigger countries. So maybe it's a smaller country that doesn't have a lot, and they're going big on it. But someone said Kathy Wood. It wouldn't be Kathy Woods, because we know, she's already so heavily invested in Bitcoin, and that's one that people would know the wallet of. More than likely, this person did it say anything about what the wallet held before these last 3 months, T-Shroom? Was it a brand new wallet that started 3 months ago? I would imagine anyone who's been in crypto for a long, long time, we would have access to a lot of their wallets and their movements. That would be probably easy to call. I suspect this is a new Bitcoin whale, which, again, who is a new Bitcoin whale?
BlackRock.
BlackRock. Like they literally, Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a new Bitcoin whale. No, they've definitely been invested with Coinbase here for a while, but they have turned up their speaking bullishly about Bitcoin. And here's what I also want to kind of reference people, because we did say this is a bullish story. And guess what, guys? We might even see bullish headlines come out of this. Stop for a second, though. Please think about this critically. This didn't happen yesterday. This has been happening over the last 3 months, meaning price has been going down recently, definitely over the last month.
Indeed.
Price has been going down for the last month and a half, guys. So these massive purchases have not been boosting up price. So why are they releasing this information today or yesterday? Why is all of a sudden this news coming out? Remember, we talked about we want to talk more Wyckoff. People have been asking Tim to talk more Wyckoff. Well, guess what? The most important part of Wyckoff is not actually anything to do with the charts. It has way more to do with the philosophy and the timing of news being released, the volume that comes in at certain times. And I'm telling you right now, do not be surprised if a bullish story like this, that's actually even factually, there is a wallet that just over the last 3 months has accumulated $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. don't be surprised if price goes to the downside. Why? Because more than likely this is institutional. More than likely, I think this is BlackRock. And guess what? They would love to do even more because they have a lot more than $3 billion ready to put into Bitcoin. They would love to suppress that price even more and gobble up some more Bitcoin at 20,000. But unfortunately, a lot of sheep are going to read this article this morning and say, oh, someone's really big on Bitcoin. We must be about to go up. They'll start using a bullish bias to find any excuse via on-chain analysis, technical analysis. They will do anything they can to try to find an excuse as to why price could go up. And the other thing that could happen, guys, is maybe price does go up, like we referenced earlier on the charts. Maybe we start to see a rally up to 28,000, 28.6, right? And everyone becomes super bullish and convinced, here we go, bull market starting, and then the manipulation happens again. Because T-Shroom asked a very important question this morning during our prep where he said, is there an outside chance that this could be used for manipulation? And the answer has to be, it could be. I'm not saying that we're about to see the price dump to 5,000 because of this manipulation. More than likely, this person is buying because they want to gather more control because they believe the price will be shooting to the upside. However, with us not having any idea who this is, and maybe even suspecting it could be someone the likes of BlackRock and Larry Fink, that is the type of character who loves to make money, and he will do it however he thinks he can, whether that's buying stocks that are obliterated or selling them really high, but printing in the news, convincing everybody else to buy. This is potential manipulation for the future. So I want you guys to keep your critical thinking hats on. Don't just run into this like a blind sheep saying, oh, this is bullish, I have to buy, bull market starting tomorrow. Continue to watch the charts, continue to listen to the news, continue to have that mindset of if it's too good to be true, more often than not, it usually is. And when everyone else is saying to sell, that's usually the time I actually should be buying. Continue to think that way and you will make money. But that's my soapbox today about this story.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can go ahead and move on, T-Shroom, unless you have a closing thought on it.
Well, I mean, there's not really any more stories, so that's it. I mean, my closing thought would be the kind of zooming out a little bit. Like, is BlackRock ultimately adoption or is it hijacking? Right? And I think when you look at a company like BlackRock, it's going to be both. It's not going to be one or the other, but it is going to be a little bit hijacking, and that's already kind of happened. And you see, Coinbase kind of snuggling up to BlackRock in a time that they were distressed. Now, their stock price is actually doing a lot better. But when BlackRock and Coinbase, those headlines came out that they were partnership, it was in Coinbase. There's a lot of question about it and its success. Now, of course, astute investors like Cathie Woods was still buying Coinbase at those lows because she understands the value of what Coinbase has to offer to the market. But I think BlackRock they're not going to be fully hijacking Bitcoin in the sense that they want to buy it all up and then throw it away and kill Bitcoin. I think what it is they see it as the new gold, and that's a good thing because that is ultimately what it should, in my opinion. And there's a lot of other opinions on what Bitcoin should be seen as, but it is the new gold, and so then the question becomes, well, is BlackRock the best custodian and the best PR agent to kind of bring that for the masses, bring that reality to the forefront for the masses? And that's where I think the answer is probably closer to no. So yes, good that BlackRock kind of observes it correctly as the new gold, buying it up. And yes, there'll be manipulation, right? But that's going to happen mostly to new traders, the downside for that. I think that for hodlers, this is really only bullish, except for when it comes to the PR of BlackRock having a lot of control of how it's communicated, and they could drop the ball there, right? Because we want to have the next billion Bitcoin owners and users come in over the next 2-3 years, right? And if BlackRock comes in and with some messaging of in the wrong way, then that could actually scare people away. Like, hey, BlackRock and Bitcoin are the same thing. People all over the world would be like, oh, Bitcoin is just a big bank thing. Well, I don't want that. I'd rather go with my local currency or whatever it is. But if BlackRock has the intelligence, which you can only assume that they do, right? If they're getting good intel from high-ranking PR agencies saying, hey, distance yourself from Bitcoin, but definitely promote it because it's going to fill your bags, right? It's going to do well for your bottom line, for your assets category, right, of your balance sheet. And so hopefully that's the way that they do it. And it seems like they have. It's only, guys, remember, it's only recently that BlackRock has really become like something that the public knows about, right? That's kind of one of the big narratives with BlackRock is that for a long time, for decades, the only people that really knew BlackRock existed, right, were just Wall Street tycoons who were just buying and selling shares of it and going to it for loans for new projects and things like that. But the average person only knows about BlackRock now because of the control and like, oh, they own like half the world, like and they control so much, and they have the highest assets under management, but nobody knew what that meant, and nobody knew that should be something that they need to know what assets under management means. But now with the popularization of trading, which in my opinion was really brought about by Robinhood, bringing trading to the average person for free, commissionless trading, and then the launch of crypto, which has brought a lot of prosperity to people who otherwise wouldn't be interested in things like finance and trading. Now institutions like BlackRock and the Federal Reserve have emerged and become the people have become more educated on what these institutions are and how they use their tools to influence the world. They own marketing companies, they own television networks, they own social media companies, right? They also own defense contractors, right? So you can kind of see how the masses can put all these things together and see, oh, this BlackRock, this Larry Fink guy, they're pretty powerful. But they're also putting their chips now behind crypto. And if they really do own this wallet, then there's going to be some big things to come. And my bet is that we're going to see a big launch in the price of Bitcoin over the next couple years. But as Tim has said, don't expect that launch to come anytime soon. Now, I did want to show something really quick before we get too far into this, because Tesla is just rocketing today again. It's doing really, really well. Let's see what the count is on it. Tesla up 3% after yesterday. So you can see this giant spike here. I've got it correlated here with Bitcoin because while Tesla was just kind of going down, Bitcoin found a kind of a bottom here and has been, although it wicked further down. Obviously, we're intimately familiar with these charts. But could Tesla be kind of sending a signal here of the breakout direction that Bitcoin could be having here pretty soon? I think that you have to take two things into consideration with that question, which is one, well, if liquidity is pouring into Tesla, right, that's probably high risk tolerance liquidity, that's probably not going to go right into Bitcoin, right? So immediately, I think the answer is no. I think you just can see a continued consolidation on Bitcoin's price. But when you see a top in Tesla's rally that it's in right now, then that money might be going to look into Bitcoin for a return. So that's kind of the way that I would be thinking about that. But as we kind of wrap it out, I'll throw it back over to you, Tim. I know I've shared a lot here.
No, that was good stuff. We're going to jump into our price predictions for today. I did see there's some requests for Matic TA, XRP TA, and I'm going to try to take a look at XRP and Matic later on in the week as well. But in case you guys are wondering, that's also another thing that these bro times are for. We have our silver members get Tuesday, our gold members get Thursdays, and we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. We can look at charts, we can talk about projects, we can talk about personal life. So if you guys want to join and become members today and come into our bro times, you definitely can get answers when you want. And also, I do the best I can. I'm not perfect at it, but when people tag me in our Discord and ask me some questions, I do my best to fill in and give you guys some answers there as well. Can't do all the TA in the world in just an hour-long show where we're also trying to cover news and engage with chat. But it's time to move into our Bitcoin price predictions, T-Shroom, for this week. We missed this yesterday, guys. It was a good show yesterday. We just did not get into our predictions. I texted T-Shroom late last night. I was like, dude, bruh, we forgot to do the price predictions. So we gotta get those done today. I have mine already put down, T-Shroom. So I actually will let you kind of talk about what are you thinking. I did some TA earlier. I talked about some levels. I didn't say the exact levels that I put, but I'm interested what you're thinking about Bitcoin right now, especially when we're talking about what's the highest and lowest we could see the rest of this week.
The rest of this week. Well, I'm going to go ahead. There's so much time left on the clock for the week, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a pretty bullish prediction that I think we could actually see I have to be somewhat conservative here because it has to get triggered, right, in order for it to be valid.
Yes. So yeah, just in case. Oh yeah. Let me refresh people on this. Just in case people are new, they're like, "What are we talking about? Bitcoin predictions." So we now with this new thing where normally we do this on Mondays. We're doing it today, but we're making both bullish and bearish predictions for what price can look like. But to win, your price has to be executed, just like a trade. Like if you're bullish and you put your take profit at $28,000, that take profit does not count for anything if the price gets to $27,984. You didn't get your take profit. So in the same way, to be activated to win the biggest bull or the bear of the week, your price prediction has to be hit. So with that said, that's why I want to hear. Now I see some chat. You guys are chat's going and putting some levels in. If you guys want to compete, we also talk about whatever community members are the biggest bulls and bears of the week, but you got to be a silver member. You got to go to our Discord and put it in the price prediction department. But T-Shroom, with that said, yeah, what are you looking at? What do you think can get activated and get hit this week? Both bullish and bearish.
Yeah. To the downside, I'm gonna say where I don't think we're gonna get much lower than 25.8. Let's say so 25.8 to the downside.
So perfect. You want $800 0 cents because we go down to the cent.
Yeah, down to the cent.
Down to the cent.
And then to the upside, where I'm going to get a little more risky. Let's do 26,005.
26,005.
500.
All right, interesting. So for the first time, I'm not getting trapped by T-Shroom in either direction, but there's a pretty good split. Like we've actually been very close in the last two predictions, thinking very similarly. And I'm interested to see what Army Piper puts in for his, but I'm actually a bigger bear and a bigger bull. I think that we could see a very volatile week. I have my high. If you want to share my screen here, T-Shroom, I went down to the hourly chart and I pulled up these predictive ranges. We, at the moment, we came down, we touched the screen, we got close to this blue line. I don't know if we're going to get there, but if we do get moves to the upside, even if we go down first, I'm putting my high at right below this 27,039. I went a little lower. I went $27,030.32. I think that's going to be an interesting spot. You guys can even see that was where we wicked here after the big bounce to the downside. We wicked back up there very quickly. So that's an interesting level that I'm definitely keeping my eyes on. And I'm, with this Bollinger Band being very constricted here on the hourly and the 4-hour chart, I'm going to go ahead and say I believe we might break to the downside and see a little bit of a fake out. I think people are going to be convinced we're going a lot lower. I put my low prediction at $25,280.72. I think there's a chance that we see the price action potentially do a little something like this. Now, the question is going to be, what I did was a risk. I went very extreme, so I'm risking it. Could play off very well for me or could play off very poorly. What do you think about my predictions, T-Shroom?
I think you're completely insane. You've lost your mind, Tim. No, I think that's the other, like that's if it's more volatile, right? Which is possible. I guess I took the more conservative and easier to win strategy. Yeah. So I'm seeing it looks like most people are actually they're more conservative than you are on the downside, but to the upside, some of them are actually are giving Bitcoin more runway than I was. So, yeah. What was your high prediction again? Sorry.
$27,030.32. So 27030.32.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. This is going to be a good week to watch.
It's going to be a good one. Again, with the Bollinger Bands constricting, either we continue just to move sideways and stay constricted, or we're going to see big breakouts with volatile actions. It could be very interesting. Mm-hmm. But with that said, T-Shroom, you have one more thought?
Well, I was going to say with the last like minute or whatever we have here, now that you've seen kind of the price action, do you think that 20,000 is in play, or does your hunch tell you that no, we've probably hit a bottom and short of another news story? Like a bearish news story coming out, do you think that just technically from here, all things staying the same, that we've probably bottomed?
No, I mean, so here's the thing. News stories can come from left field and right field and midfield and home plate and the dugout. There's never going to be a shortage of news stories, especially when you're talking about FUD and FOMO. Mm-hmm. FUD and FOMO sometimes have kernels of truth in them and sometimes have no truth whatsoever. but the whole point of them isn't to be accurate. The point of them is to go after the emotions of retail investors. So if you're saying, oh, we've had all the news we got now, there's no way price keeps going down, think again. They can put whatever they want into the articles, the headlines, to scare or to FOMO you into anything. So no, I still T-shirt believe that 20,000 is a very realistic possibility. I'm open to being wrong, but I'm going to probably put myself at the moment at 65% certain that 20,000 ends up getting hit by the end of this year. That's my thoughts. Let me know in chat what you guys think. Wow. But with that said, it is 10 o'clock, so it is time to go ahead and wrap up today's show. Love each and every single last one of you. Thank you for joining us this morning, the Investing Bros. Make sure to hit that like button on the way out. If you are not subscribed, thank you for being here this morning. Please consider hitting that subscribe button, helping us get to 5,000 subscribers within the next 2 months. That would be awesome. But with that said, you guys have a great day. We'll see the members today at 3 o'clock. The rest of you, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.